Catch you up on a few stories that should be on your radar. It is time for Rapid Fire. And here with their take are Josh Lipton. Welcome from California.
Thank you, sir.
It's nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
Seema Modi's here. You're often here.
Good to be here.
You come all the way from about 40 feet. And Robert, you come from upstairs.
From upstairs.
Robert
yes.
comes from upstairs. Let's talk first about Roku, and I'm going to lead it off with you, Josh. Roku shares sliding despite posting a revenue beat and double-digit growth across multiple metrics. 68% jump in user streaming hours, 79% spike in ad revenue, also boosted full-year revenue guidance, but a 22-cent per share loss outweighing all the positive, even though that loss was, as I understand it, narrower than what had been forecast, right?
Yeah, so that was interesting, Tyler, what Roku CEO told our own John Ford on Squawk Alley today, right? I thought part of that conversation was interesting. He was talking about, listen, we are partners with some of the streaming services you guys are so excited about, right? We are the ones connecting the user to those services, whether it's Disney or Apple. So kind of what he was saying was if they win, we win. And that's sort of an interesting thing for investors to think about is going ahead, do you think Disney's new streaming service is a hit? Do you think Apple TV Plus is going to be a hit? Those are some of the situations you think about. Because the bull case on the street, in part, it's a big part of it, right? They're going to be a winner in the streaming wars.
Subscriber growth, what, 80% year? When is good enough?
I know.
Mean, come on.
We look at the stock performance today. It's obviously down a lot, but just combing through the earnings report, there's a lot of positives here. User base is up, streaming hours up 68% versus the same period a year ago. I think to your point, Tyler, Roku's unique selling point has really been its ability to attract a younger audience that is increasingly cutting the cord. And I think the expectation is that with the onset of Disney Plus and Apple Plus, the more people will cut the cord, and that will lead them to Roku. But I guess that thesis is out there. We have to see if that really happens.
Why doesn't Roku come out with a television set?
Well, they're going to. They're launching a test version in Britain. But my question about Roku is, right now we have a smart TV, and we have, let's say, 4 streaming services right now, probably 6 pretty soon. And you can just go to those directly without Roku. Now, but what Roku
Because your TV's that smart.
No, because it's that smart. You just click on the app.
Yeah.
What Roku can do, and where we were going to see a need in this market as we get more and more services, is aggregation and search. So you want something that brings you back and forth between all these streaming services, suggesting shows for you not just from Netflix, but if you watch this on Netflix, you might like this on Amazon or Hulu or Peacock. And that's what's missing from this market. I think people will have more streaming services than we think. They're saying now the maximum per household will be about 3.
It'll be more than that in the Lipton household.
I think it'll be definitely more than that. Yeah. And so if Roku can be that cross-platform search and aggregator, like the online TV guide for all this stuff in one place, that it could be a good service.
But will it, I guess, is the question. By the way, year to date, stock is still up 300%, Tyler.
That's pretty good.
Big run.
One thing to watch, Ty, I think is interesting with this story. I think what analysts will tell you is domestically, they're okay competing with Google and the Amazons of the world because they have this big brand. They're known here. As they move internationally, that'll be interesting. They're not as well known as competition hit them there.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. While all the attention has been focused on Elizabeth Warren's tax plans, on Capitol Hill, another senator and representative are introducing their own plan to tax wealth, but at a much lower threshold. Elon Moy joins us now with the details. Hi, Elon.
Hi, Tyler. Well, this plan comes from Senator Chris Van Hollen and Congressman Don Beyer, and it moves the goalpost quite a bit. It would apply to income over $2 million for a married couple or just $1 million for an individual. And this is called the millionaire surtax. It would cover both wage income and capital gains and would raise the tax rate on both by 10 percentage points. Now, so the top individual rate would go from 37 to 47%, and the rate on capital gains would move up from 20 to 30%. Now, 2 important caveats here. The surtax does not apply to all of your assets like Warren or Sanders' tax does, only income. And also, this isn't going anywhere in Capitol Hill right now. But it is important, Tyler, for the framing of the debate among Democrats over how aggressively to tax the rich. Moderates have been skeptical, but progressives believe that this could swing key voters.
Again, what's critical here, it seems to me, Elon and Robert, I know you're going to chime in, is the idea that this is an income tax. This is not a wealth tax per se, though it would affect, obviously, wealthy people. Elon?
Yeah, well, I think that the important key here is it doesn't just apply to wage income. It's also trying to get at capital gains, and it would raise the capital gains rate. That's been a big complaint amongst Democrats, that the rates on those two types of income are different. And so in that way, it's trying to get at a broader set of wealth than the traditional income tax rate.
And Elon,
we know the Democrats want to raise the top tax rate.
It looks like this would hit about 300,000 families initially, over years because it's not indexed for inflation, would hit about 500,000 families. So still, it's, only more than 99.7% of the U.S. population would not feel this. But why do you think they're doing this at a time when there are already much bigger plans out there by other Democrats? I mean, what is the point of this, do you think?
I asked that question, actually, of why they settled on that $2 million threshold. And they said that $2 million and the 0.2% was sort of a tidy way to sum it all up. It was easy to understand. One of the reasons why they're pursuing this is because it rides on the back of the existing tax code. So all you have to do is replace some numbers. You don't have to think of a wholesale overhaul of the code, that it can be implemented fairly quickly and easily if Democrats can get it passed.
All right, Elon Moy, thank you very much. Let's move on to topic 3. It's been a rough ride for a pair of online travel companies. Shares of Expedia and TripAdvisor, which I just a moment ago called Tripedia, are plummeting today after both missed earnings estimates for the third quarter. The CEO of TripAdvisor saying the quarter was more difficult than they expected. What happened here, Seema?
So, Tyler, there's a couple of powerful forces that are at play. One is Airbnb has become a bigger talking point. Both Expedia and Booking Holdings, which reports tonight, have their own home rental platforms. And while the opportunity is large, it's becoming increasingly crowded, which means these players have to spend much more advertising dollars to market their brand and to differentiate their brand from other competitors, especially as they move overseas into these new markets. For TripAdvisor, it's sort of a company-specific situation. As travelers, we have now other tools that we can use to figure out where we want to travel, what restaurants we want to eat at when we're in Capri or in Barcelona. And for years, TripAdvisor has really enjoyed free traffic from Google, but now Google has moved TripAdvisor down in terms of search engine results and put a lot of the paid results at the top. So now TripAdvisor doesn't get as much traffic as it used to from Google. Plus, people are now using social media. A lot of millennials make their travel plans based on what their friends are doing and what they're seeing on Instagram and Facebook. And
are they going directly to the sites of, let's say, the airlines or the hotel companies as opposed to using these intermediaries to do their booking?
You're exactly right. That's always been, Tyler, a longer-term headwind for these online travel operators. The hotels have become very smart and strategic in trying to incentivize the traveler to book directly by saying, hey, if you book directly with us, well, maybe we'll get you that upgrade. Maybe we'll get you
the best price. We guarantee the best price, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and also,
and if you've got a problem, untangling it with the hotel or the airline directly is usually easier, right?
Much easier. Also, and Google's just gotten in this space like crazy.
A huge threat. Yeah.
Google Flight is really good. I mean, all the Google apps are just terrific, very efficient, and it's one-stop shop, and it sort of probably includes all the things that they know you like as a Google user.
And so the question, Seema, if you're, let's say you're Expedia, you know Google is this big threat out there, they're displacing these guys. Is the recourse really, all right, we just have to spend ads on TV, on Facebook, on other digital platforms?
Not on Google.
Right.
Well, but they have to. That's why it's this frenemy relationship with Google. They need them, but they also are feeling that competitive threat from Google as well. To what you were saying, Robert, they have Google Flights, they have Google Hotels, and that platform is extremely convenient for a lot of users. So I think it's diversifying the type of players that they're marketing with, but also finding a better way to work with Google. So
I don't have to go there. I didn't even know about it. All right, last one. China is hitting the restart button, announcing a host of new restrictions on online gaming to help curb video game addiction. The new rules include a ban on gaming by minors between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. on weekdays. Minors can only play for 90 minutes a day, and there are spending limits for in-game microtransactions. China's digital gaming market estimated to be worth more than $33 billion. Josh, how in the world? Well, I guess I know how they'd enforce this, because they're watching.
Yeah, so it's a communist regime, right? So you have the Great Firewall. Reportedly, you have tens of thousands of sensors controlling the internet, right? So in China, not a big leap to see how they could do it. What is interesting is, for the video game publishers, China is an important market. It's an increasingly important market. Today, you're going to get reports from Activision and Take-Two. Take Activision, for example, their Call of Duty franchise, right? They put out a Call of Duty, a mobile version. It's seeing a strong response. They need, like a lot of video game publishers, Tyler, they need those regulators in Beijing to green light those titles. So it'll be interesting to see what they have to say after the
what parents can't do, the communist government can
do. This is in loco parentis to the highest order.
Yeah, and I didn't know there was
there are a lot of parents, including one who lives in
how do
New Jersey,
they do that?
who would go, this is great.